the salary, and you're getting a bunch of young guys, and you're getting them up there, and they're not going to go to the playoffs yet. They're a few years away from the playoffs. That's when you save your money. That's when you don't spend money on a really good hitter or somebody who's going to cost $12-13 million. But when you get to this point, when you're on the doorstep of the playoffs, you made it last year, you came close this year. This is, like you just said, your window of opportunity, and this is the time to spend some money and, again, go over budget if you have to go over budget, because that's really the only way you're going to do it. You're not going to really nickel and dime your way to the playoffs. Unless you have a ton of great, cheap, homegrown prospects, then you're going to need to spend some money in certain locations, and you got to spend it on the right guys, and you have to do it at the right time. I mean, when you think about back in the mid-'90s when the Indians were really good, they supplemented all those good guys coming up there with guys like, Dennis Martinez and Oral Hershiser, the veteran free agents to put them over the top. And they were spending a lot of money, but they were also making a lot of money because they were winning.
I'm in agreement with you. It's gonna be interesting to see how they attack it. But I wanted to mention, and by the way, you brought up in your answer, you brought up about how they probably won more games than they should. I saw in the Plain Dealer the other day, and I just think it's funny because we had these same discussions, but we had them 3 months ago. What people are now starting to ask the same question that we asked over the summer when I blatantly said, hey, all you guys criticizing Terry Francona are nuts. And I said this in July, August, September, all the way through. I said, look, he has done a better job as the manager of the Indians this year than he did last year when he won the Manager of the Year. I've been riding that train since the All-Star, and people are like, you're nuts, are now asking that same question, and I say the answer to that is absolutely, positively yes. He did a better job this season than he did last season, even though there's some know-it-all fans that'll tell you that's not true. I would argue, and I mean, maybe you can put up an argument with me and say, no, Jerry, you're wrong. He did this wrong, that wrong, and this wrong. But I'll go back to my fielding opportunities. When you only field 50 ground balls and you only bobble 2 of them, that's great. If you field 500 and you bobble 50, all of a sudden people go, oh my goodness, he bobbled 50. He only bobbled 2 last year. And I'm like, yeah, well, he also faced 500 opportunities this year. So what my point is, the more problems you have, the more you're going to mess some of them up. And he had everything go right. To me, I know you're going to say I'm nuts for saying this. I'm not saying that last year didn't happen because of Terry Francona either. But I think that a decent manager would have still had success. I don't know if it would have been as fun and if it would have been as magical feeling as it did last year, but that team, a lot of fortunate things came together for the Indians in guys getting the right hits late in the season and the soft month of the schedule. I mean, that wasn't a soft 2 weeks. That was a whole 1 month run. It all worked out, and that's awesome. We had such a great fun ride through that month of September and into the wild card game. So I'm not taking anything away from it, but this year the path was much less paved for Terry Francona, and it was paved, but very early they went off the paved path and started going off-road, and it took a while for them to get that straightened back out. But, man, I say he did such a better job than he did the year before.
Yeah, I would agree that he did do a better job this year because, to change from, maybe cars to boats, I mean, he was basically trying to steer a leaky ship which had a lot of holes in it, and instead of sinking, he managed to at least get it across the finish line. He didn't finish first in the race, but at least he didn't sink. But although, last year, I think that things went better, but I think a lot of it really had to do with Francona himself, because one of the best things he did was he was really able to integrate everybody into the offense. He had everybody on the bench getting decent amount of at-bats, so they were all contributing. I mean, you had almost everybody on the bench, almost everybody on the entire team was in double amazing. And even though they didn't have anybody with a 100 RBI, he just sort of stirred everybody up and got everybody involved to the point where they were able to make that run and to be strong all the way through and end up winning it. And I don't think another manager would have gotten them to the playoffs last year. I think they don't get to the playoffs last year without Francona. That's my opinion.
No, I hear you. I didn't mean it. See, this is why I always say, like, I don't
I
mean
didn't say
this
you were crazy.
literally. Because no. What I mean is that's why I said I think a good manager would have had a modicum of success with last year's team, no matter what. I don't know if he gets them to the playoffs, but I'm with you, and I think he's a special manager. I like him. Listen, I don't second guess Terry Francona, man. If he wants to tell me it's raining, tell me it's raining. If I see sun. If I see sun, I'm still going to pack an umbrella. That's fine. Now, if you tell me it's raining for 3 months and I'm packing an umbrella, okay, then I'll start to go, maybe you lost your fastball. But other than that, in Terry we trust. And I just I thought it was funny. I saw that it was over the weekend. Did Terry Francona do a better job? And I'm like, man, I said that back in July, man. I said Terry Francona is handling some rough patches here and working magic, you know? I mean, you got the magic erasers and making you forget that you had a team that forgot what it was like to field a baseball for stretches of last season, man. And you know what, too? I was cleaning up some stuff on my hard drive from over the summer and clearing up some space, and it's funny to go back and listen. I had like 10 months worth of news breaks that I deleted, and so you go back and listen to some of the things that were going on, and then you listen to, as you're cleaning up, some of these segments and some of the things we were talking about. And Mike brought that up a few months ago. He said I go clean up, did the Tribe win, and I'll look at old articles of what we were talking about 3 months ago. And I did that here, listened back to some of the stuff from over the summer, and you're just like, man, I mean, it's that 24-hour cycle. It never changes, but you just you look back at the ups and downs of that long season, and then here we sit looking back at it all now, man. It just reinforces what a long season the baseball season is. That's one of the beauties that some people don't appreciate about the sport of baseball.
I agree. That's one of the best things about it. You know, you get to enjoy it from the beginning of spring training all the way to the end, and it takes up most of the year. You don't have to wait too much longer in the off season for it to come back, and so that's and for the players themselves, you know, they can have a bad game, or a closer can have a bad game, they can come right back out the next day. And even the fans, if they're disappointed, they could possibly win the very next night. That's one of the beautiful things.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing every Tuesday talking to you, Jeff Gorman. It's a beautiful thing watching some playoff baseball, which is going on. Those two big, crucial Game 4s today over in the National League, the Dodgers and the Cardinals, and Washington and San Francisco. We could be locked into a Final Four. I guess we'll have to see how those go. Jeff says the Dodgers and the Giants are going to take this thing. I don't know, man. I say the Cardinals and the Giants is your National League Championship Series, although I would have no problem if Washington won the next two. I'm just big on I got to get the Dodgers out of there. Listen, man, I said it yesterday. When you can take the Indians' entire payroll, set it in the Dodgers' outfield, and still have money left over, and we're just talking about the outfield, I got a problem with that team. They got to go. Detroit had to go. Dodgers got to go. Actually, I had the Dodgers circled in as the World Series team coming out of there, so I'm shooting myself in the foot there. But, yeah, I'll gladly see the Dodgers get taken down tonight if at all possible.
See, that's the thing. I picked the Dodgers to win it all at the beginning of the season, so I have to stick with that because it works for the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl. And also, when I was a kid playing ball, my team was the Dodgers, so I have to root for them.
See, I don't care about my prediction at this point because when you call the Indians a team of destiny and we're sitting here watching the playoffs, I don't. What does it matter if I'm wrong about the Dodgers at this point, man? So right. I'm throwing credibility out the window. I'm sabotaging my own preseason prediction, man. I want the Dodgers to go, man. But we'll see, and we'll talk about it next week. We'll be into the championship series, and we'll find out Baltimore, Kansas City, who's closer to getting their World Series dreams there. We'll see what's up, and then of course you and I have got a date with Friday. The old Browns 101 hat coming on. We'll look ahead to the Pittsburgh Steelers after the game the other day. What a game, too, wasn't it?
That was amazing. That was such a beautiful thing. I had to call my dad after that one, and that was one of the – I knew we would remember that one for a long time. It was just beautiful.
It sure was, man. And the 24-hour rule is over, so I'm allowed now to look at some of the things I didn't like about that game, too. And I really, really wish we could figure out why we were in a 28-3 hole. Why we were down 27-0 to Pittsburgh. Now, can we work on figuring those things out? Can we please work on that? Because that would be great, man, because this team can actually score. You figure out how to stop somebody, and there's no telling what you may be able to do here.
That would be nice. It's like if you're really good at digging yourself out from a mine cave-in. Oh, I'm just great. I'm the best at that. You know what's even better is not getting into a mine cave-in in the first place.
Sometimes it's the simplest route that people don't understand. You know Shane Taylor, professional wrestler. My man Shane Taylor. He texted me yesterday. We were talking about the Browns game, but he hits me up out of the blue. He goes, "You don't understand." And we got to talk about Manziel too. Oh, I'll tell you something about that in a minute. But he goes, man, as soon as this, he's watching from down in Houston. He goes, J-Rock, as soon as this Indians team realizes that they can win a game like they did the other day, they're going to be dangerous. I'm like, I hear you, bro. He goes, no. He goes, and he's pretty, he's a relatively football knowledgeable guy. He goes, and he starts listing off teams that he compares. I'm like, dude, I'm with you. And I agree. I think that it doesn't matter who you played or how you played them. The fact that you came out of there the way you did, that's what makes a bad team forget that they're a bad team. And it has nothing to do with the talent when I say that. In your head, you're still a bad team until you're not a bad team. And I said the same thing. I'll say it again. I know it was the Titans. Let's not, let's keep that in perspective. But, man, that's the one that you look back at and go, that was the day that guys said, no, that might have been your Browns, but that ain't my Browns.
Right, and the thing that I kept thinking was, we've lost this game like this so many times in the past. Yeah. We've been the team that's fallen on our faces when we had the game in the bag. And ultimately, you've got to turn that around, and you've got to be somebody who sticks it to the other team just like that. That's how you turn the narrative around.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, you know what? I was going to get to that. I see Bruce with the point, man. Since I got you for a second, Dr. Football's not here. We're going to talk to Doug Plagens in a second. Justin Gilbert benched. But, man, the Manziel thing, I got hit up. I saw. We talk about Chuck Booms all the time, but there's another one. There's actually two. I feel bad, man. Cleveland is getting hit from the FM and the AM side. You got the idiot, the Hammer, over there on the AM side to go along with Chucky. You know what? I'm not even going to start insulting Chucky Booms, but he insults himself every time he opens his mouth. But do you know, coming off of that win here yesterday, I had people hit me up that were assaulted from both sides of the radio dial by salty Cleveland sports talk hosts insisting that Brian Hoyer's what's holding back the Cleveland Browns from being this undefeated powerhouse, that Johnny Manziel should be leading the way. And even Bill Livingston had a comment in today's Plain Dealer that you have to admit that Johnny Manziel leading this Browns team would be a much bigger national story, and the Browns would be the talk of the NFL. I'm like, maybe you haven't clicked on the internet because I know you're older and you're prehistoric, and maybe you don't know how that works. But if you look around the internet this week, one thing that I've noticed is that same national media that started off their articles in July as Brian, get out of the way for Johnny Football Hoyer, are now bowing to the narrative that is the hometown hero early on. They're not stupid. They know a good story when they see it, but I think it's a trip. But yeah, these cats are literally, first off, how do you be that guy the day after that win, let alone be that guy the day after a win? Do you know how many Browns fans hit me up and go, dude, we have enough Mondays where we lost, where I can complain about stuff. I'm not going to do it today. But yeah, Manziel, he'd have him on top of the world. Hoyer is holding this team back, my man.
That is just insane. And for anybody not to be just on cloud nine the day after that victory is crazy. And that's just going to make the Sports Fix's NWO-style takeover that much easier.
I'm just saying, man, when your morning host and your main program director / host of your other station, when your two of your main guys are saying that, come on, man, there's something wrong with the sports radio in this town. Not that you needed me to say that, but yeah, Unbelievable, my man. All right, anyways, I got to go before I get going on that. We'll talk about that another time. Jeff Gorman, enjoy the playoffs. We'll catch up on Friday. We will talk some Browns, the ones that are playing on the field against the Steelers. Big one coming up this weekend.
It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. It's going to be weird to have both Steelers games done so soon, but let's see if the Browns can even things up. That would really be amazing.
Absolutely. Jeff Gorman, you guys can check him out at Indians101.com. He'll be back on Friday. Jeff, have a good one. We'll catch up this week.
All right, you too. Thanks, Sarah.
All right, my man. We're going to take a break. Get